certainly Devin Mockabee deserved it.
Well, folks, we've got a tornado warning that has been issued just now for Logan, Johnson counties right here. My clip here, Franklin County. You can see the movement of these storms off to the north-northeast. And here is our tornado warning. Doesn't include Franklin County quite right now, but the reality is, I think the National Weather Service in Tulsa is probably going to kind of reconnect this tornado warning for that very eastern section of Franklin County. The area we're most concerned about right now is between Paris and Coal Hill. We're starting to see a bit of circulation begin to develop there in northeast or northwest Logan County. And so here's our tornado warning. If you're just now joining us, this tornado warning goes until 3 p.m. So for about 36 more minutes right here, just got issued, and it is again moving off to the north-northeast. The areas, again, of greatest concern right now, Paris, you need to be in your safe spot right now. This potential tornado, if it spawns one. We don't think we've got one right at this exact moment, but it is circulating very quickly. I've got multiple computers around me right here. We're watching different things. That's why you see me stand over or kind of move over to the left a little bit. But again, Paris, let's get into that safe spot right now. This thing could produce a tornado pretty quickly. It's right on top of you. Okay. Now, in terms of where the circulation is exactly, all right, let's go ahead and pull that up. And again, tornado warning, right? Tornado warning till 3 p.m. here. That circulation is right here next to Paris, okay? Coming over the top of Paris just about as we speak right now. It doesn't look like it's at this exact second got a tornado with it, but at any moment it could produce a tornado. So we've got to be in that safe spot right now in Paris. I would say it's a good idea in Gray Rock, Carbon City. You're not for very much longer either. Now, if you're already down toward the Driggs area, the circulation is already starting to pass to your north and east, so you're in a good spot in Driggs, but Paris is not. Again, Carbon City not, Gray Rock not, Union, Cottontown, all the way up to Hartman and Coal Hill, the next two bigger towns that kind of they're kind of in the path of this, again, potential tornado. So that's our circulation right there, and it's trying to kind of increase a little bit, but not really there just yet. Let's take another look at this from a slightly different perspective. Robert, you got something for us?
For those wondering, this storm is moving northeast at 45 miles an hour. Also, 1-inch hail possible with this storm as well, in addition to the possibility of a tornado.
Not seeing any debris signature right now, so there's not very good reason to suspect a tornado's on the ground right now. One thing I'd ask for you to do, Robert, pull up the RDOT cameras and make sure that we'll be able to take a look at any cameras that are kind of in that Clarksville to Ozark area, particularly around Clarksville, because this thing holds together. It could be near Clarksville at some point. So Robert's going to work on that right now. Going back to radar, we can see that little bit of a hook right there. It's a little bit of a hook. This is going to continue off to the north-northeast. Let's put it back in motion here. And you can see over the last hour or so, the movement's mainly to the north. There is a little bit of an easterly component to all this, but mainly off to our north. Now, let's go ahead and zoom out a little bit. I'm going to take down that. And I want to do a storm tracker. What was the speed?
45.
45.
Northeast
right,
45.
Okay. So let's move it at a pretty good clip. So I'm going to zoom out a good bit here. We're going to do a storm tracker on this. Some of the towns that could be in the path of this. Right now, it's right over the top of Paris, but in not too terribly long. Clarksville, all right, one of our bigger towns in the path of this, 252. I'll work on that, Robert, while you work on the cameras. Let's see if we can pull up some additional towns.
Yeah. Also, folks, we did get word from the Weather Service that they do not expect to include Franklin County in this tornado warning. So that is some good news.
Okay.
So this is a Logan and Johnson County situation based on
And it makes sense,
Yeah.
because the circulation, while it could get very close to that very southeastern tip of Franklin County, I don't think the circulation is ever going to quite pass into Franklin County. Coal Hill, if this thing holds together at its current pace, 240. Hartman, 242. If this thing shifts a little bit farther east, Clarksville, you would certainly be in the path of it, 252. It's going to hold together, too. It's not got a lot of organization with it at this exact moment. Let's see if we can bring in a few more towns. Some of the little smaller towns right here, Kalamazoo and Cottontown, and Hinkle and Hoyt, Montana, New Spadra, Sulphur Springs, in Johnson County, not the one in Benton County. Spadra, Hunt, Union City, Jamestown, Edna. You can see a number of additional towns on there, so that helps quite a bit. So that kind of gives everybody a pretty good idea of when the circulation is going to be over top of you. Right now, it's right over the top of Clarksville. Okay. And so Clarksville's I'm sorry, right over the top of Paris. I apologize. Paris, not Clarksville. Paris. Clarksville, if it holds together, could get in your area by about 252 if it holds together. Let's go back, zoom in again. If you're just now joining us, we've got a tornado warning that has been issued here for Logan County. This is something we saw circulating about 30 minutes ago, and then it kind of lost a little bit of that, and then it came right back up really quickly, and that rotation is there. Again, not seeing signs necessarily at the moment that this is necessarily a storm that's likely got a tornado on the ground right now, but it certainly has got some pretty intense winds. So one thing, even if it doesn't have a tornado on the ground at the moment, again, just now joining us is a tornado warning for Logan County, and this storm in Logan, northwest Logan County, moving toward southwest Johnson County. One thing we know it definitely has some very strong wind speeds kicking in. This is what we call the rear flank downdraft, and particularly intense rear flank downdrafts oftentimes will kind of undercut any circulation and may actually reduce the chance of a tornado forming, at least for a time. But they can still cause damage, straight line wind damage, and sometimes they can enhance tornado probability. It just, every situation is a little bit different, but in this case, maybe reducing it maybe a little bit. But again, the very strong winds here, straight line winds of around 50 miles per hour, 40 to 50 miles per hour being estimated by our radar. So very, very intense winds. Right over the Gray Rock area, Roseville, coming into Kalamazoo as we speak, just north of Paris. Going to come right across the Arkansas River, and then Coal Hill, Hartman. You're going to be kind of up next with all of this.
And it's important to note that, you know, this is you're getting down into a pretty mountainous region, so those strong winds can be, you know, funneled through some of those valleys, and they could, you know, lead to localized heavier gusts at times.
Sure.
So just keep that in mind as well, folks, if you're in that area over the next, you know, half hour or so.
Wind tunnel effects in valleys, and if you're on a hilltop, you're just always more subject to more intense winds. That's just kind of the way it works for anybody living on those hilltops. Again, spin up with this storm right now is not necessarily something that I would say is highly conducive to immediately producing a tornado. Not seeing any serious drop in correlation coefficient, though we are getting a little bit of a drop there around Gray Rock. That could be because of more of a straight line wind kind of situation. Hard to say. Let me go back the last 15 minutes. Yeah, it could be a tornado debris signature, but I don't know. It could be. It could be, or it could just be the strong straight line winds went right through that area. So hard to say if that's kicking up debris from a tornado or whether it's kicking up debris from straight line winds. That's coming into that extreme southeastern corner of Franklin County, around Denning down to Greenwood, Franklin County, not Sebastian. So that is interesting, and at the very least, it looks like it might be the hail probability might be coming up a little bit. Well, maybe not. But again, Paris, let's stay in that safe spot. Cottontown, Gray Rock, let's stay in that safe spot for right now. Regardless of tornado, whether it produces a tornado, at least straight line winds are concerned. You want to be in that safe spot. So let's stay in that safe spot for right now.
And this is, unfortunately, this is just the start of what could be a busy evening weather-wise. So, you know, if you're seeing this and you're in Fort Smith right now, and you're thinking, oh, you know, this is out in Logan County. Well, it's a long evening that we have ahead, and we've been telling you about the severe potential for the last couple of days, that this could be a pretty active day. Certainly Mother Nature not, you know, letting us down with this first wave of showers and storms. More storms are expected to fire up as we get into the evening hours after sunset. That's when it looks like Northwest Arkansas could certainly get into the show. We have a very, you know, wide-ranging tornado watch that's in effect. This does include where the warned area is as well, Darby.
Yeah, absolutely, Robert. And this drop in correlation coefficient we're seeing right here, actually, that may have to do with hail. I think our radar might be seeing hail right there. It's kind of an elongated drop right here. So a combination of wind maybe kicking up some debris, maybe some leaves, that kind of thing, and hail particularly, I think, that hail getting blown in this direction right here, kind of in a broad area between Roseville and Gray Rock. So I think that's what the drop in correlation coefficient is. Again, this is a new, you know, tool for our radar we've had the last several years that helps us pick out where there might be debris in the atmosphere, but sometimes it can pick up hail too, because what it's really doing is the radar is seeing, if it's seeing a bunch of things in the atmosphere, they're all different sizes, and clearly it's seeing that right here, then you see a drop in values. You start to see the yellows and the greens and blues. We're seeing a yellow right here, which indicates to me that it's not seeing a lot of debris, but it's seeing something in the atmosphere. Again, very well could be hail. I'm surprised the hail probability hasn't come up right here, but we can't. Oh, there it is. All right. So yeah, hail. I think that's what the okay. There it is. All right. Sometimes the radar lags behind what we already know is probably happening, but there's that uptick in hail probability. So, National Weather Service say anything about that, Robert?
No, nothing in the terms of hail right now.
Okay. Well, I'm sure they're seeing the same thing we're seeing. All right. So that's kind of the reason we're seeing that drop in values right there around Roseville, Greenwood, and you know, if you pull up we're on Facebook Live right now too. If you pull that up as well, Robert, if there's anybody living in that area seeing this hail, they might be able to confirm that for us. And were you able to pull up any cameras along I-40?
Yeah, it's still dry in Clarksville right now.
Okay.
The more persistent rain is back to the west near Ozark, but that doesn't have anything to do with this storm. But with how quickly these storms are moving, you know, it'll be to I-40 here probably, you know, if it's moving 45 miles an hour, probably within the next half hour or so it will be crossing the interstate there. So, you know, and that's the other thing, folks, if you're out traveling this evening, conditions, you know, 1 mile to the next can rapidly deteriorate and improve with the scattered nature of these storms right now. We've already seen that back toward Fort Smith, where we had some rain and thunderstorms, and near Ozark as well. And now this cell will probably be at I-40 here in the next, you know, like I said, a half hour or so, with its current speed at northeast at 45 miles an hour.
And I give everybody this information. All right, so the circulation now at this storm is right over the Cottontown area, about to cross over the Arkansas River, and then come into Hartman and Coal Hill. Hartman, Coal Hill, safe spot right now. Okay, circulation's still there, and it could again increase over time. Though we don't know if a tornado has been produced yet, we still have that circulation. Now, Paris and over to Carbon City. We're now behind the circulation. You can see it's right here, Paris, Carbon City, over the Gray Rock, just about over even Union and Subiaco. You're in the clear, all right, of the tornado. You still have rain, you still have lightning in the area. Winds are still pretty gusty, but you can at least come out of your safe spot in Paris for sure. I would say in Gray Rock, Carbon City, Subiaco as well. Just about in Union, might give it a little bit more time in Union. But Cottontown, over to Hoyt, New Spadra, all the way over to Clarksville. Let me zoom out a little bit here so we can see this a little bit better. So Clarksville, Coal Hill, Hartman area, along I-40 here just to the east of Clarksville. All those areas in our safe spot right now. This thing's moving pretty fast. All right, so it's going to be on our doorstep around Clarksville, and especially just barely west of Clarksville here pretty quickly. So if you're in the area around, again, Sulphur Springs, Johnson County, not Benton County, but if you're in that area, let's get into that safe spot right now. Hoyt, Hartman, Coal Hill, Cottontown, the Wilkins area, Union. This is now to your north, so you're looking a little bit better in that area. But we still have this spin up right here, which isn't necessarily getting any more robust, but it's still there. And again, we're seeing these little drops here in CC values, probably because of hail. I'm sure that's what's caused it over here, and that may be what's causing it over here as well. These little drops that we're seeing in correlation coefficient right here. So I think that's really got to do with hail. I don't feel like we're seeing actual debris on radar right now, unless it's a little bit of straight line winds getting picked up, that kind of thing. The hail probability, we saw that come up, still up a little bit. You see that little pink value right there, so that's what our radar was probably picking up. Go back to radar. If you're just now joining us, I want to reset for everybody. We do have a tornado warning that has been issued. We don't have anything going on in northwest Arkansas. We do have some storms coming in from northeast Oklahoma, going to affect western Benton County. None of this is going to be severe. A little bit of lightning with it, some heavier downpours, but no legitimate severe weather concerns right there in northwest Arkansas. Some pretty hefty downpours south of Fayetteville, so if you're driving south of Fayetteville over the next hour or so, you'll run into some of that rain, some really heavy downpours right now on I-49 between, looks like the Greenland area and the tunnel. So some pretty heavy downpours there, but not severe. And we don't have any other warnings in the viewing area. In fact, I don't think we have any other warnings in the state other than a severe thunderstorm warning down toward DeQueen. We expect additional activity to redevelop over east Oklahoma later on, late this afternoon into this evening. But the prime area of concern right now, and why we're on the air on Facebook Live and on TV, is this tornado warning right here. Bring that back up again. Tornado warning in effect till 3 p.m. The storm still moving at 45. Is that right, Robert?
It's now at 40 miles an hour.
40. Okay, slowed down a little bit. And a lot of times we see storms slow down, they're trying to reorganize, so that might be what's going on here.
We do have a couple of people checking in on Facebook. Sue is saying it's getting very windy in Coal Hill right now, which is right near that circulation that Darby has circled on the map. So yeah, that's and we had those winds that were estimated around 50 miles an hour. So very much could see some some pretty impressive gusts if you're in the path of this storm, which is why you're urged to have that plan of action ready to go. Get that safe spot cleaned out. Maybe it's got Christmas decorations or something in it. Clean it out right now. Yeah, I spent all day yesterday and this morning cleaning up or getting Christmas down. Could you, Robert? Could you kind of scroll through the comments, see if anybody's. That's what I've been doing. Okay. Well, see if anybody in that area has reported any hail. I'm really interested in that. South of Altus, kind of between Paris and Altus. I suspect that's what it was, but it's always good to get that confirmation if you happen to see anybody anyway in that area. The storm has lost a lot of organization. We do still have this tornado warning, which really at this point the primary threat looks to be almost entirely into Johnson County. Right now that circulation is between Coal Hill and Subiaco. So again,
Paris, you're in the clear, as we were saying earlier. Not there yet, though, in Coal Hill or Hartman. This is right over the top of you. So this is a concern for you at the moment. But main concern right now looks to be strong straight line winds, a little bit of hail, some lightning, very heavy rain, so flash flooding will be a possibility as we go through the next several hours. But that circulation, it's still there. I mean, it's not really, gone away entirely, and it continues to push its way kind of off to the northeast here toward the area just a little bit west of Clarksville. So, these storms sometimes try to take a right turn. If that happens, then Clarksville may be more positioned for that circulation. The circulation at least hasn't intensified, which has been nice to see. The storm itself, though, remains very, very intense. Haven't seen any serious changes in the intensity of the storm. It hasn't gained a whole lot of organization throughout the process. A little bit here and there, but it may have slowed down a little bit, which may be a signal that it's trying to reorganize. But I'm not seeing any significant reorganization. I do have an RDOT camera turned on in Clarksville. Well, let's go ahead and pull that up. It is raining there, but it doesn't look terribly bad right now, as you can see. There's a look at I-40 near Clarksville, wet roadways. Do you have any others that we can take a look at? Yeah, I can cycle through the three that are in Clarksville. There's the one. This is closer to I-21. Here, go a little bit farther west where the rain's really coming down. Yeah, right. There's Coal Hill. There we go. There's where it's coming down. Starting to come down. People have got their kind of flashing blinkers on. Nothing wrong with that. That kind of heavy rain, you're in the middle of a tornado warning. What we always tell people when they're driving down the interstate is if a tornado warning's issued, you're going to get it on your phone. You're going to get the alert on your phone, right? So if you're on the interstate, on a highway, whatever it may be, tornado warning gets issued, you're in the tornado warning because you wouldn't have gotten the alert on your phone if you weren't in the tornado warning. You want to get to the first exit you can find and find a nice sturdy structure as nearby as possible and hang out there. Whatever that may be. Whatever's open, whatever's available, but someplace better than just being in your car, being on the interstate. That's kind of your best bet in these situations. All right, but we don't see much right there. Keep an eye on that camera if you see anything. All right. So again, if you're just now joining us, tornado warning in effect till 3 p.m. And the circulation has crossed almost entirely. The circulation right now is directly over the Arkansas River. So just about everybody in Logan County now is in the clear of the current tornado threat. And it's just now coming into Johnson County. Though we're not seeing any significant uptick in circulation with this storm, so that's good to see. Nonetheless, we're going to stay on the air with this tornado warning through its entirety, because here's another tornado warning that's been issued in central Arkansas. That one's probably going to have a little bit more potential to produce a tornado. It's got maybe a little bit less activity to the south and east of it, a little bit more of an unstable air mass being sucked into that storm. So that one may have a higher degree of potential to eventually produce a tornado. We'll see. We're also watching this storm in Scott County, which here east of Waldron, it's something to watch, something that we want to keep an eye on, but doesn't look to have much organization with it right now. And this activity over Washington County also doesn't look to have a whole lot of organization with it. We got these storms kind of making their way into western Benton County. A few showers anyway around Siloam Springs, and that's about it for those areas specifically. All right. We do have a tornado watch that's in place for Johnson, Logan, and Scott counties until, I believe, late afternoon, evening?
Yeah, tornado watch Let me get the
That was till 8 p.m., 6 to 8 p.m.,
exact
something like that.
specifics on that tornado watch.
But
for
that's
everybody.
where our tornado watch is, because the primary threat here initially,
9 p.m. for the
till
tornado
9 p.m.,
watch.
the primary threat initially is kind of these areas east of Fort Smith over into central Arkansas. That's our primary threat initially. Later on, we're going to have to watch for additional storms developing over east Oklahoma, which then could make their way into northwest Arkansas and parts of the river valley closer to Fort Smith. We're getting all this rain out ahead of it, which helps a lot in terms of maybe limiting the potential for any additional storms that develop this evening to become severe, but it doesn't eliminate it. And there could be enough of a period, particularly across eastern Oklahoma, where it's dry and it kind of warms back up. It's January 2nd. I know it's utterly ridiculous that we're talking about this, but it happens rarely in our area, a little bit more frequently farther southeast, but very, very rare, but it can happen. And certainly that's kind of what we're dealing with now. It felt kind of spring-like out there yesterday and today, and today we just absolutely shattered, annihilated the records for high temperatures in northwest Arkansas, and did a pretty good job blowing them up in the river valley too. It's going to be a warm January, so there could be additional severe weather throughout the month.
And I'll just say this because it's going to be, a very busy day. Darby and I, we are 100% aware that there is a college football game on right now.
Yeah.
But we're going to get you back to that as soon as it is safe to do so. But we've got to get this information out for those people that are in the path of this storm, because it is a particularly dangerous storm. We did get a caller that called the newsroom a few minutes ago outside of Clarksville, said plenty of rain but no hail. At least at her location just outside of Clarksville, which is certainly some good news there. But, in addition to the severe threats, there's also plenty of heavy rain. Flash flooding is a threat. So don't, if you're out tonight and you encounter flooded roadways, please don't become a statistic and try to drive through those flooded roadways and get yourself in a situation that you might regret. But as we've been saying, and this warning for Johnson County only goes for about another 9 minutes or so before hopefully it'll be allowed to expire, as it's looking less and less impressive on the radar presentation. But as we said earlier, if you're just joining us, this is just the start of most likely will be quite an active evening, probably through at least 10 or 11 o'clock tonight is when we could be dealing with these on and off, whether it's a severe thunderstorm warning, tornado warning, flash flood warning. This is the type of system that's rolling through where all modes of severe weather are certainly possible. As you see Darby bring up Interstate 40 there near Ozark yet again, those rain-covered roadways. So, just because it's not raining where you are at right now doesn't mean that in 30 minutes or an hour it could be raining, and it could be raining quite heavily. Just keep that in mind. Just doing our best here to give everybody the very important information that they need, because conditions can change extremely rapidly. With this storm, as an example, it went from, okay, it's a strong-looking thunderstorm to tornado-warned storm in minutes, which is when we popped on the air.
Yeah, it's still a concerning storm, though I have to say that I'm still not seeing any significant spin-up with this storm. I think they could probably...
Billy on Facebook chimes in saying that there is lightning in Clarksville, somewhat calm, but the sirens are going off in Clarksville.
Okay.
So just heads up on there.
And it's a good idea to still be in that safe spot in Clarksville right now.
Yeah, the sirens don't go off by, they're on for a reason, folks.
They are. But we also have to admit here that that tornado threat is greatly reduced from where it was, 20 minutes ago. Greatly reduced. Which is good to see. We will have more storms form in the area as we go throughout the day-to-day. Straight line wind potential still seems to be there. Not maybe as great as it was before, but that's still kind of there. That's still a concern for us. So again, if you're just now joining us, tornado warning is in place for Johnson County. That threat of a tornado has exited Logan County entirely. And we've got another tornado warning. This one's in central Arkansas, approaching the Morrilton area. Folks in Little Rock covering that. We've got some pretty intense little activity, again, along I-49 that we've been seeing here. Now up to Fayetteville, and we've got some heavier downpours around Johnson coming into Springdale. None of this is going to become seriously severe, but still kind of concerning in this area. Just mainly because folks driving down I-49, and it seems like it happens pretty regularly, get a heavy batch of rain and we get accidents. So definitely want to be extra cautious. Not seeing any new activity yet across Oklahoma, but this is kind of where we expect that next batch to be. And this is interesting. I want to point this out here for everybody because this is kind of important too. I'm going to come back over here. The Storm Prediction Center has kind of moved the enhanced risk of severe weather, which, if you follow my cursor, it's kind of hard to see, but if you follow the cursor right here, now extends much more into Benton County. And they also, brought the risk of strong tornadoes all the way up. All the way. See this black line right here indicating the risk of strong tornadoes? They brought that all the way up.
Basically to Highway 412.
Yeah, to Highway 412.
Give or take a couple of miles.
And so that is now definitely a concern even in the parts of northwest Arkansas. So the hatched area right here is where even up to Washington County, Madison County, you could have a strong tornado, almost up to Benton County and Carroll. They definitely moved that farther north. We kind of expected they probably would at some point, and they've done that. So we've got to watch right through the rest of the day here. Got to watch right through the rest of the day. We'll go back to radar here. And just got less than 5 minutes here with the tornado warning still going. The new area of circulation trying to develop right over Clarksville here. Let's go back to this. The storm doesn't look any more organized, but it is trying to develop maybe another area, a new area of circulation. Let's pull this up. Not much, but it looks to be trying right there. So let's stay in that safe spot in Clarksville for right now. I would say that Hartman, Coal Hill, you are now in the clear in Hartman and Coal Hill of any tornado threat. You can come out of your safe spot. Hoyt, you are too. New Spadra, not just yet, but you're right on the cusp of being able to come out of your safe spot. All of Logan County is entirely out of that tornado risk now. They still have the tornado warning, but that doesn't matter really. You're entirely out of the tornado risk at this point.
And we are getting word from the Weather Service that warning will expire at 3.
Yeah.
It will be allowed to expire, which is good news.
Yeah, I believe it. I mean, you get this new area of circulation. If it tries to take off, they might have to have second thoughts. We'll have to wait and see. But right now, that is what it looks like. All right. Switch back over to base velocity here. And seeing the rear flank downdraft try to come in behind. And this one's not quite as intense. So that might be, and it's coming right up to Clarksville. So it may have a little bit more potential compared to the prior uptick in those strong winds kind of coming in along the southern flank of this storm. If they're not quite as intense, then you can actually start to see occasionally an increase in probability of a tornado forming. Right now, we don't see a high degree of potential, but it is there. All right, it is certainly there. Hail probability, still pretty low, not seeing anything. We saw it spike earlier, but not seeing it come back up at the moment, which is good. Still pretty intense storm, still very strong winds, very heavy rain, frequent lightning through this area. Flash flooding is going to be a concern. We've already gotten reports of high water in a few areas today, so that's going to remain a concern. Second tornado warning here in central Arkansas.
Yeah, that central Arkansas storm, we're already starting to get some damage reports in from that one, so that's...
Yeah, that one had a little bit more potential.
Yeah.
It doesn't look terribly well organized right now, but it's... You know, that one, if you got friends or family who live in that area, kind of coming toward the Perryville area, and really, you know, in this area north of Hot Springs Village, kind of hilly and somewhat mountainous, but hilly for sure, and very rural area there between Hot Springs Village and Perryville. But they're watching that down in Little Rock. We're watching this. And once we get to 3 o'clock here, in less than a minute, we're probably going to...
Why don't you, real quick, Darby, head on over to the RDOT camera.
Okay.
Because as Darby just mentioned, and I want to get the information here quickly, just near the Bobby Hopper Tunnel,
wow.
We've got a pair of accidents. I believe this one involves a tractor-trailer. You can't see much there, but they are zoomed in on the accident. And then we have another accident just about 7 miles north of Mountainburg that does involve a rollover crash. The one that's near West Fork, which is where we have this camera, that's a multi-vehicle accident that is involving a tractor-trailer on the southbound side of I-49. All lanes are being impacted by this crash, so yeah, it's we're underway.
Like we just said, and like we say all the time, and probably will never stop saying it, frankly, is, you know, when you've got heavy rain on I-49, you're probably going to have accidents.
We might have another view. I'm just checking
slow down.
here. No, we don't have a view of that other accident.
Okay. So we're gonna stop our coverage now of this previously tornado warned storm. Tornado warning has been dropped. Circulation with it looked like it was trying to come back, but no, I think we're good to go. So this storm just intense over Johnson County. We'll keep a close eye on these storms as they continue to form. It looks like initially for the next several hours, your primary risk area is over Johnson, Logan County, and then really to the east of that. We'll have to watch some of this activity developing over LaFleur County, but it looks like mostly central into North Arkansas, South Arkansas for the next few hours. And then by this evening, folks, new activity developing in here that comes into Northwest Arkansas. So late afternoon into this evening, especially 6 p.m. to midnight in particular, this area right here for that next greater risk. We do have accidents on I-49, as Robert just mentioned, because of the heavy rain. So check before you leave and make sure you can get down I-49 or up I-49 if you're going to be using it between Fayetteville and Fort Smith. You might have to take 71. We'll continue to watch everything for you. We're going to get back to regular programming, keep an eye on things. In the meantime, keep it tuned to 4029. We'll keep you updated.
Like the state of college football right now, and hear them talk about